All right, good morning, everybody. So we have Sandeep again. Sandeep had taken a session on free tools available from Google last time around. That was 2 3 days ago, and he's back with us again today. He's going to take us through how to generate good quality leads from Google for free without paying anything to Google, without running ads. And Sandeep is a maverick at web, I would say. He has done a lot of work on creating websites. They so Sandeep and his team actually create really wonderful, large websites that handle a lot of traffic, and they even manage some of the largest sites in India today. Other than that, he also focuses on ensuring that the websites he develops are marketing ready, are actually built to generate leads and results for businesses. Over to you, Sandeep. I think the presentation is still not open properly. I can see some presenter tools, etc.
Yeah, I'm just wondering if okay. I don't think this will work with Zoom. So let me just go back to the normal way of presenting it.
Yeah, normal presentation. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Once it comes
Okay,
up.
great.
Yeah, fine. So over to you, Sandeep. Uh,
All right. Thanks, Anup. Thanks for the introduction. Like Anup said, uh, Pixelmatic is something that we've built over the last 5 years, focusing solely on WordPress websites that are optimized for marketing. But along the way, we've also spent a lot of our time and effort growing our own business using some of the strategies and tactics that I want to share with you today. And we've grown and generated leads using this. And today, about 60 to 70% of our business comes through our website. And I know that this is uh, a way of growing a business uh, without having to spend tons of money on ads. So so yeah, like Anup said, the topic for today is how to get high quality leads from Google. And as Anup was mentioning, we did a session a few days earlier, and in that we spoke about how there are Google's free tools that a business that is just going online or is already present online can use to maximize their visibility and get new customers. And we spoke about Google My Business. That's a listing service from Google. Essentially, all of you have most likely seen it. We spoke about how you can get yourself listed there and ensure that your listing is fully optimized so you show up uh, to relevant people at the right times. And we also discussed a few tools like Google Trends and even how to use Google Search to find what your customers are looking for. If you are looking for that session again, I think there is a recorded video, so you can reach out to Anup and he will uh, let you know how you can access that. So coming to today, we are just going to
just
go a
sorry,
little deeper.
Sandeep, just quick interruption here. If you want the recordings of the previous sessions, you can follow our YouTube channel and subscribe to it, and you will get the videos. Thank you.
Awesome. So yeah, so today we are going to go a little deeper into how Google search and the search traffic can generate leads for you. So let's get into that. And you know, I think SEO is a bit of a black box for some people. It is also uh, this magical thing where you do a whole bunch of really complicated things and then your business automatically gets all these leads. So let's demystify some of those things and understand the concepts before really getting into the nitty-gritties of it. So you have a user who has a need, and like most people, you would say go to Google and look for that. And this is basically something that you see. You type in and then Google uh, uses that keyword in your query and then looks up its massive database of websites that it has indexed. Now, Google uses their own proprietary algorithm to index websites and also find the best websites matching this particular keyword. And your website happens to be one among the billions of websites that are on the web today. And then Google compiles all of this data and then sends it back in what is in SEO parlance referred to as SERP, or search engine results pages. And so this is what you see, a list of 10 results. And then, most people usually don't end up going beyond the first page. And so your effort then is, how do I rank on Google? Ideally, a lot of people are obsessed with about ranking number one, but that's a separate discussion. We'll get to that if time permits. But most businesses want to figure out how to rank in the top 10. And once you rank in one of these top 10 places, then the customer is, or potential buyer is looking for which result seems most relevant and click on it, and then they land on your website. And this is what you refer to as organic traffic. And if that organic traffic converts into leads, then this is a full loop that has been completed. And so SEO has many aspects to it, and the steps that you would take to optimize the website so that the website ranks for relevant keywords when your audience is searching for it is what you would refer to as on-page SEO. So SEO that you would do on the page, which is your website. And then there are backlinks. So what are backlinks? Essentially, if you have published some really good content on your website and other websites find that content valuable and they want to refer to your content, they would usually mention you and then put a link back to your web page. And each such link forms an association between another website, which is then sending a backlink to your website. And this, along with a whole set of other activities, is what is generally termed as off-page SEO. So you do this off your website to try and increase the number of visits that actually come to your site, and thereby increasing your leads. So you have on-page SEO and you have off-page SEO. Now, just to give you a small analogy of how the backlinks are used by Google, think of a science research paper. So if it's a paper that you've written with a lot of work, and then other researchers start to refer to this paper in their own work, and what is called citation, right? So they cite your paper, and and then they refer to your research in their own work. And so most such citations will mean in generally that your work is of some standing and of some value. So the more number of citations that you have from other people, there's a good chance that your paper can be considered of a reasonably high quality. This is exactly the approach that Google takes to decide whether your website is of good quality by looking at how many people are linking back to you. So therefore, backlinks is an important fact. All right. So you have on-page SEO on one hand, list of things you would do on your website, and then you have off-page SEO, which is the activities that you would do outside of your website to gain backlinks and other promotional related activities. So before we get into how we can get started with SEO, a quick look at why this is such a good marketing strategy. At any given point, there are about 40,000 people searching per second, which translates to about 3.5 billion searches in a day. And there's a good chunk of them that are your potential audience. So, and of course, we are talking about Google today, and Google happens to be numero uno when it comes to search. They have a 75% market share. Bing and the others, I think, are in single digits. There's also been a surge in the number of people looking for queries like where to buy and near me inquiries. I think this is also possibly related to the proliferation of mobile devices and voice search. And so people are interacting with information in different ways. And so that has also resulted in new kinds of traffic. It's also interesting to note that in the top 10 results that show up in search results page, the top five end up garnering almost 67% of all the clicks, right? So we'll also get to the aspect about that I referred to earlier, which is that you need not always rank at number one, and how you can rank in the top 10 and still end up getting more click-throughs than someone who's ranking one. That depends on a few other things that we'll talk about soon. Also, importantly, the organic traffic converts at a higher percentage versus an ad or a print or the other traditional marketing methods. So your conversion rates are also higher when it comes to organic traffic. And why that is so, we'll see in the slides that are coming up. Also, two other big reasons, right? Organic search is essentially free, and it's also scalable. The reason I've written free in quotes is because it's free in the sense that you're not paying Google to get listed in the organic search results. You're not paying for every time somebody clicks on that search result and lands on your website. You're not paying for the impressions, the number of times it shows up in search results, and you're not paying for a lead that is generated every time, right? Contrast this with ads that you would run, and you would pay using different methods. Either you pay per click, or you pay per impression, and various other models. But what happens when you stop your budget, when you close your ad campaign? The traffic just nosedives, right? You have some sort of knock-on effects of having built brand awareness, and there are most definitely uh, good use cases and scenarios where you should use ads, but it's not a continuous stream of lead generation. Once you are done with an ad campaign, the traffic and the leads stop. However, it's completely different with SEO. Once you set things up and you've put a system in place with incremental changes and periodic maintenance over a period of time, you can generate leads on a consistent basis. And, and you don't have to pay for the lead that is generated each time. The reason I've put this in quotes, the word free, is nothing is free in this world, right? I mean, it is the time and effort that you would put into building this strategy. And so if you were to, you know, associate your time and effort or add a value to that, then of course there is a cost to it as well. So that's just a way to look at it. But you are, able to build a lead generation pipeline that is consistently delivering results for you using SEO. So today's webinar, we wanted to not just talk about how do you generate traffic, but most importantly, high quality traffic that creates leads for you, right? And if you're a business, ultimately you want to generate leads, and so it's important to keep that in mind, because in sort of the vast maze of doing many different SEO activities, it's easy to lose track of that goal and just look at keywords that are getting you a lot of traffic and be happy with that. But that really doesn't help you move the business forward. So leads and not just traffic. And to do this, there are two things that I have seen, and in fact, this is a mistake that I have done myself, is to not pay enough attention to what is called search intent. So what is search intent? It's essentially what the buyer is thinking about at the point of sharing or at the point of interacting with Google and asking for information, right? When they put a query in place, what is their intent? Are they looking for information? Are they looking to buy something? What are they trying to do? And it is helpful to think about the buyer's state of mind um, mapped to a decision process, which is fairly sort of well known in the B2B space. You are looking at an awareness stage, then you're looking at an information search, and then a buyer gets into a comparison stage, then they evaluate, they make a final decision. There's also a post decision experience. So there are various versions of this, but let's, for the sake of this webinar, keep this version as the point of reference. You have awareness, information search, comparison, you evaluate, and then you take a decision, right? So with that buyer journey in mind, what is the search intent? So there are keywords. When you look at a query, you should be able to figure out what is the search intent behind this. So there are four ways to categorize them. The first one is informational search query. So in this case, you would generally find that the query has the following words in it: how, what, where, guide, tutorial. So a buyer is looking for information. There is then the commercial intent search query. So in this case, the buyer is closer to making a decision, and so they're looking at the best tools, the top providers, reviews, comparison, etc. And then you have two others, which is transactional keywords. Now, this is in a lot of cases just related to uh, a transaction that they're doing. It's very notional. So they're looking for coupons, they're looking for buying something. So these are very transactional in nature. Then you have navigational keywords. Navigational keywords are essentially, buyer has something in mind, but they don't know how to get there. For example, they're looking for a product from a particular brand. They don't know how to get there. So they would search for a navigational keyword, they would find something, they would click on it, which would then lead them to their final destination. So they're just using this as sort of a navigational aid. And from a lead generation standpoint, the transactional and navigational keywords generally don't end up resulting in a lot of leads. However, the informational and commercial search queries are the ones that produce more leads. So this is the search intent that you must pay attention to before finalizing the keywords that you want to pick and optimize your site for. Then you also have this concept of short tail and long tail keywords. If you've spent any time reading up on SEO, you would have come across this. Short tail keywords are essentially keywords that are associated with general search, and long tail keywords are associated with something specific that the user is looking for. So a short keyword would be a mobile phone. A long tail keyword would be specific, for example, an iPhone X battery capacity. So somebody is looking for information on the battery capacity of an iPhone 10, right? So it's very specific compared to a mobile phone. Similarly, if you're a travel, if you're looking, if you're a person who's looking to travel, then you are, compare the two searches: a weekend holiday versus somebody searching for a budget weekend holiday to Europe in June, right? You can't get any more specific than that. So you're qualifying the weekend holiday as budget, and you're specifying the destination. You're also specifying the time, right? So these are important things to keep in mind when, as a business, we're trying to optimize our website for what our audience is potentially looking out for. So search intent is one critical and crucial aspect that you should not gloss over. So yeah, so if you just map this to the funnel, so to speak, you have informational searches at the beginning of a funnel. So they're at the awareness stage, trying to get information. So for example, let's take lead generation, right? What is lead generation? You're trying to understand what this is. And so you are looking at informational content and you're at the awareness stage. And the next, when you've understood what that is, you're probably trying to see what are the options out there. So you're looking at best lead generation tools. That would be your next sort of query, right? Which would be useful for businesses then to say, okay, let's optimize for people who are at this stage of the funnel. Then finally, once you've done that search and said, okay, I want to buy a particular tool, you've decided that. Then you search for something like buy HubSpot, right? So buy HubSpot is is actually a combination of two search queries. Buying is commercial intent. HubSpot is navigational, because HubSpot, so navigational keywords are generally have brand terms in it. So brand names. So here we have HubSpot, which is the brand name, and then you have the keyword buy. So it's buy HubSpot. And so anybody who is looking for this, even if they land on your website, they're not going to engage in your services. They're simply looking to buy HubSpot. So they will eventually, if you put a link to HubSpot on your site, then they will eventually go there and make that purchase decision. So it may not always be beneficial to you, which is why it's important to identify what kinds of keywords you're trying to target, what kind of search intent you're trying to target. And then once you have this understanding, you want to then find and identify keywords, right, for your business. And this is an approach that I have used for our own business, and I find this makes it easy to narrow down where you should look and how to find keywords. Otherwise, it's, you end up with countless keywords, but you don't know which ones to go after. So I like to look at it as an overlap of these three things. First, what is your audience needs? List them down. It helps that if you have an intimate understanding of who your audience is and what the needs are, list all of them down. Then look at what industry you operate in, or what market you are in, what location. Are you in Bangalore? Are you in India? Are you in Europe, or specific geography? So make that identification and list that down. So that becomes another qualifier. Then you have your own products and services. Right? What does that cover? What is the scope of it? Right? And so list all of that down. And then if you look at a combination of all these three, you end up with niche keywords and niche topics. And what's good about niche keywords and niche topics? Uh, these are generally keywords that have low competition, and those are the places that are far easier to rank compared to keywords that are much more difficult to rank for. And the same thing applies for short tail keywords and long tail keywords, right? It's a lot harder to compete with other websites that are ranking for the word shoe versus ranking for a specific shoe meant for a specific purpose in specific weather conditions, right? That becomes an extremely specific long tail keyword that is definitely easier to rank for compared to just the word shoe. So, or even running shoes. So that's how you would find keywords that are have a good amount of traffic, but are also low competition, and therefore you can rank for these keywords easily. And so this is a tactic that I use to find areas of keywords that I can then go down dig deeper and find keywords. Okay, so at this point, I just don't want to go through all of the points one by one. Instead, Anup, I was thinking we can just do an actual example and show how this would work. So
Absolutely. It would be fantastic to have that. And I would encourage the audiences to use the chat box and Q&A box to ask questions, interact. If you have some examples to give, please, you're welcome to do that. Go
yeah,
ahead, Sandeep.
yeah, and so I have not looked at the chat, but other people from different industries here. Maybe you can pick an example.
So Yogesh says that he's a web developer, but his wife runs a small business around pets, cats and dogs, trying to get visibility
Okay,
on Google.
okay,
There are others also: education industry, legal consulting, luxury audio.
okay,
So you can take up
okay,
pets or luxury audio. Those.
okay. Let's say luxury audio. That sounds interesting. Um Sorry, Yogesh. I know Yogesh well. Uh, we see lots of cats on the internet, but let's look at luxury audio. It seems interesting. Uh, but yeah, happy to do take questions during the Q&A and see uh, what are the interesting problems that some of our attendees have. So let's open this out. So luxury audio, right? So if you just do a, so I would say luxury audio would probably be a short tail keyword. Even though it is a niche, you're not just talking about any sort of audio systems. It is high end luxury. But yeah, if you do that, you find uh, a bunch of keywords. So this is something that we spoke about last time in the previous webinar, which is that you can use Google search itself to find more keywords before you get into any of the other tools. You can start. You should actually start uh, your keyword research here. So if you do luxury audio and you just you know add a space, and Google is suggesting all of these, right? Luxury audio brands, systems. There's I don't know what, some looks like a Scandinavian language. Then you have a brand name, which is Harman. Then you have luxury audio speakers, hi-fi, video companies. So Google is suggesting this already. So these are all ideas
There's
for key
another keyword the same person has said is high-end audio.
high-end audio. Okay, right. Same thing would apply, right? So you put high-end audio and then get a bunch of suggestions from Google. And of course, not all of it will be relevant to you, but it's still a good data point to see. And this is coming directly from Google, right? So this is one option. You also have searches related here, right? So more options. Some of them might be repeated, but you might find some new ones here. So always make sure that you look at the searches related to your keyword at the bottom of the page. In some cases, let's say high-end audio. So you have, you see this, this is sponsored. So Google is showing you some products here. There are some ads. Google is showing up YouTube videos. So we discussed this in a previous seminar about how do you decide between Google search versus YouTube. And then, yeah, you have some search results. And then you have this little widget here that says people also ask. Now, this is a great place to find out what people searching for high-end audio are also looking for. And so this is basically Google, which is trying to map information of and search intent of people who have searched for high-end audio have most likely also searched for this. And this is what Google is telling you indirectly. So as you expand on these questions, Google continues to add more questions at the bottom, right? So I mean, this is in a lot of cases like a rabbit hole. You can just keep going one after the other to find out what are topics that people are looking for. And this is a great way to actually find related keywords and related topics. And so gone are the days when you would just write content around one single topic. Today, because of how the internet has evolved, and people have seen that when you write content, it's useful to cover a wider range of topics that are related to that. So you cluster the topics together and you write one single piece of content, right? And so to find that cluster, this is a great place to look. People also ask. So make sure that you spend some time exploring this, and you'll find a whole bunch of keywords and ideas from here. So this is one option. The other option of finding keywords is so let's say, okay, here you go, Wikipedia, right? So you go to Wikipedia, and then quickly glance through the contents or the headings, right? They will generally give you an idea of what the themes are or subtopics are within this space. Uh, so you have, and also you can also look at these, right? Audio noise measurement, broadcast quality, professional audio, stereo file, right? Maybe that's a keyword that you can look at researching more. Are there people who call themselves stereo files and audio files, right? What high-end audio is also high fidelity. So you'll find more such topics and keyword ideas when you look through Wikipedia articles related to that subject. And there's also home audio, right? So there's stereo setup, surround sound setup. So it depends. So Wikipedia sometimes has very detailed subsections for different terms. So it's always good to look up Wikipedia and see what are some of the topics that are available. Another place is to look at conference websites. I find this interesting because conference websites, if you think about a conference, is generally the idea, the curation of content at conferences are always about cutting edge stuff in that industry. So, so let's see if we can find some. You can look through the agenda, you can look at the speakers, you can look at what companies are there. And so all of this, gives you, great options to find more keywords, right? So conference website, uh, yeah, looking for maybe seminars. Okay, so they have archived it. So yeah, I think you get the idea. So you can look at the agenda for the conference, and you should be able to find what are the topics that people are talking about in your industry, and that's a great place to find keywords. Another interesting place is YouTube. So YouTube works a little differently to. Sorry, I have this distraction mode enabled, so YouTube is blocked. Uh, okay. So then you do the same search here and see what are the suggestions YouTube is giving you, right? So high-end audio. So you have high-end audio system, high-end audio file music, interface, different options. So take all of this down and put it into one Excel sheet. Uh, so YouTube is one. So we looked at Wikipedia, we looked at conference sites, we looked at YouTube. Another interesting place is to go to online course websites. If there is an audio course, I don't know. Let's find out. Okay, there is audio engineering, maybe. Okay, so let's look at, let's say, maybe this course. So what I'm trying to do here is find the topics, right? Find keywords. So go to the course content and go to the subtopics and see what are they talking about, right? So there's microphones, quality of microphones. They're talking about cables and connectors, speakers, headphones, equipment setup. All these are ideas, potential ideas around which you can then further find more keywords, right? So courses again is, I think, an interesting place. Not a lot of people think about. So that's another area that you can use. What else? I have listed. Yeah, I think forums and Reddit are the other two places which are great. So you can spend a lot of time there and find keywords. Then of course we talked about Google search and the related searches that Google gives you. So those are great. Now, once you have all of these keywords, you put them into what I call uh, seed keywords, right? So this is the initial set of keywords that you have found from Google and from these different sources. So these are your first level of keywords, seed keywords as I like to call them. Then you take these seed keywords and then you use any of the free tools that are available, and I'm not even talking about paid tools. Of course, the paid tools will give you more information, but you can always use the free trials from tools, or you can use the Google Keyword Planner. So let's open that up. So Google Keyword Planner is part of their ads platform, and it's essentially used to find keywords for targeting ads. However, you can use that same tool to find keyword ideas for doing your organic keyword. While the information that Google is giving you is from their ad platform, uh, you can still infer a lot of information based on the data that Google gives you. So let's open that up. So let's say we went to Wikipedia, we went to Google search, YouTube, Udemy, conference websites, and found maybe 40 or 50 different keywords, right? From initial 2 or 3 keywords that you started off with, you now have 40 to 50 keywords. You can then take those 40 to 50 keywords and open up create a free account in ads.google.com, and all right, so looking for the tool. There you are. Google, by the way, has some great sources of uh, you know information and knowledge. They have courses, uh, they have blogs, and a lot of information that you can actually learn from. So I'll share those links with you later on in this webinar. So, okay, so there are 2 things here. So you can discover new keywords. So let's say you have an initial set of 10 to 15 keywords. You can discover more keyword ideas by using this tool as well. So there are 2 options. Let's try the first option. So let's say high-end audio. Let's say luxury audio. Okay, I'm just going to just put these 2 in for now and say get results. Okay, so now if you notice, it's thrown up results, and then there are these are the keywords you provided, and these are the keyword ideas that Google is giving you, right? So if I expand this, there. So Google is telling you high-end speakers, best high-end home speakers, etc., etc. There's a lot of them here, and you also have something called average monthly searches, right? So this is an indication of how much uh, traffic that these particular keywords are getting on the ads platform, and therefore you can make the correlation that even on organic traffic they would get a decent amount of traffic. So this is one parameter, right? So the search volume. Then you have competition. Competition here refers to how much or how many other people are trying to bid for the same keyword on their ads platform. So it tells you that this is a keyword that is extremely competitive. There are a lot of businesses trying to optimize for this keyword. And then there are keywords which not many are optimizing for. So there is low here, right? So low, medium, and high. And then these 2 columns will give you an idea of how much people are paying per click. So it gives you an indication of the cost per click. So what you can do is you can download these keyword ideas into an Excel sheet, right? And so like I told you earlier, we have seed key. So you create an Excel sheet, you have the first tab, you call that seed keywords, where you have initial set of keyword ideas. Then you put that through tools like Keyword Planner and extract not just more keywords, but the keyword data, right? You have search volume, competition, and what is the cost per click. So this is this version of the tool lets you generate more keyword ideas. You can also go back and get the search volume and focus. Let's try the same thing. And luxury audio and because right. So here it's telling you the CPC. It's telling you how many clicks it's getting. What's the CTR for this? So you have all of this data here, right? So this is, like I said, meant for the purpose of ads, but these are still interesting and useful data points for you to have for your keywords. So once you get the keywords from this, right, and you put them into a master keywords list. Let's go back to this, right? So so you have seed keywords, you put them in, run them through this tool and other tools. You find a list of master keywords, or I would say, sorry, you generate more keyword ideas, and then the newly generated keywords, you've gone from, let's say, 10 to 100 now. So you have 10 seed keywords. Now you have 100 master keywords. So you put that in a list, separate list. And when you're extracting this information from any of these tools, they'll generally give you some of this information. So we just spoke about search volume, competition. It's also called paid difficulty, and cost per click. And additionally, some of the other tools will give you what's an organic click-through rate. So while the estimate is that the search volume generates, let's say, 10,000, the expected uh, traffic from that is maybe, let's say, 5,000. So that's another data point that some other tools give you. Keyword difficulty is how difficult would it be for your website to rank for that particular keyword. So for now, for if you're starting out with SEO, I would say just focus on search volume, competition, and CPC. So you're looking at keywords that have a good search volume, that are low to medium competition, and generally a low CPC, a low cost per click means that it's easier to rank for those keywords. So look at these three parameters when if you're starting out, and later on you can then look into the organic CTR and keyword difficulty. Now that you have all these keywords and this data in one single Excel sheet, apply filters, right? Filter keywords for some of the following parameters. Set a minimum search volume. Say that I want keywords no less with search traffic above 100 at the least, right? 100 and above. That's your qualifier. Then you say I only want to look at low competition keywords. So for a particular sort of campaign, you're saying, okay, I want to find only low competition keywords. Now the holy grail is to find low competition and high volume keywords, right? Those are tough to find, but when you do find them, they will, you know, uh, give you lots of traffic and also leads. So, so while you're looking for those kind of keywords, you should, have some parameters to filter out and remove keywords that are not matching this criteria. Could be very low search volume, could be very high competition. And then the other thing that you can do is once you have all of this data in your Excel sheet, add two more columns. And if you remember, we spoke about search intent some time back. Add what you think is the search intent for each query based on your understanding of the industry and of the marketing space. And assign that, and then you filter keywords for ones that are informational in nature, ones that are commercial in nature, and then maybe you can start your SEO by focusing on those two areas, and then maybe later on, if required, you can get into the other types of search intent keywords. And once you have this information ready on Excel sheet, now you need to map them onto the services and the products that you're trying to sell on the different pages on your website. So these are the steps that you would take for keyword research and finding keywords that don't just give you traffic, but high quality traffic, and which then therefore leads to business for you. So once you've generated this keywords, now is question of optimizing your website for these different keywords. So how would you do this? Let me just show you again an example. If you have WordPress, it makes it extremely easy to do all of this. You don't have to meddle around with the code. You can do it easily with the interface that WordPress provides. So I'll just show you an example quickly. So once you, if you are using WordPress, there are two plugins that are most recommended. Yoast SEO is by far the most popular option. And more recently, there has been a plugin that's trending, and a lot of people are using it, and we've also started experimenting with it. It's called Rank Math. So these are the two plugins that you can explore, but do not use both plugins at the same time. It defeats the purpose and will cause you more problems. So pick any one of them. So let's find a page that we want to optimize for. Okay, so I have this page. So I'll open. Okay. So I've opened both the back end and the front end. So this is how a page looks like. Right? I have this content, the standard landing page here, and so this is how the page looks like. We also have the plans listed here, so all of the information is here. Now, here's the back end. Seem to be struggling with a slow connection today, so apologies for that. Okay, so we have what we need actually right here. So this is the Yoast SEO widget that you see at the bottom. And that's the advantage with using a tool like a platform like WordPress, is that you don't have to touch code. You add all of the content and then use this Yoast SEO plugin to sort of guide you through the process. So let's say I want to optimize this page for website SEO audit, right? So I put that keyword here. Okay, the page is loaded now. Yeah. So you add the keyword here, and what this plugin will do is it will scan the page and it will tell you if you optimize the page or not, right? And if you look at here on the right side, it says SEO good. So it has a checklist which it checks, it verifies for, and it tells you, okay, you have added the keyword in all the right places. So now the question is, what are all the right places? So when you optimize a page for a particular keyword, and this is assuming that you've done your research, you've found the keyword which has a good amount of traffic, doesn't have a lot of competition, and now you're sitting down to optimize your content for that keyword. The page title, right? So let's go back to this. So these are the areas. Now there are lots of other places that you can optimize for, but for the sake of simplicity, I've highlighted the most important ones. So the page URL, whatever the page URL that you have, should contain that keyword. The page title should contain the keyword. Headline, which is H1 and H2 tags, should also have a keyword, and then the body, which is the content on that page, should also have keywords. And one, sort of mistake that a lot of people do, which is a hangover from the olden days of how SEO was done, where you would simply stuff a page with lots of keywords in all kinds of places. That doesn't work. In fact, it will impact your site negatively. So do not stuff keywords. One way of looking at checking whether your keywords uh, you've done too much is when you read the page, does it appear to be natural to you or not? Google, in fact, looks for that when it is indexing and parsing the information. It is looking for whether what appears on the page is natural or not. So if you come across as somebody who's just added keywords and sentences don't make sense, then you end up with negative impacts and penalties from Google. The other is images that have been added on the site. So alt tags are places. So is the text that you would add in as one of the attributes for the image, and this basically helps Google understand what the image is about. So start with these. There are lots more that you can look at. For example, linking of your pages, internal links, uh, and other things. But if you were to start, then start with these five. And of course, we are talking about lead generation. We're not talking only about generating traffic. So make sure that every page or every post has one clear call to action at the bottom that is asking the user to do something, whether it's to read more content, whether it's to fill out a form, or whether it's to get in touch with you. Make sure that you have a single clear call to action at the end of or on the page when they land on it, right? So this is the on-page SEO. Now the question is, let's say you optimized your website or a blog post for a particular keyword, and now you're wondering, okay, what next? What happens next? How do I rank on Google? What are the other things that I need to do? And how does Google decide that I should rank for this keyword versus my competitor? This is a black box. Google will not reveal it. They have mentioned that they use as many as 200 different factors to decide whether they should rank a particular page or not. And it's pointless to look at all of them now, but again, I've highlighted the top five that I think you should start. The first one is the user experience of the website. So what is the experience that a buyer is having the moment they land on the site? Are there too many ads? Is the website moving all over the place? Uh, you know, or is it not loading fast enough? Uh, the phone is not conducive to mobile screens. That's a big factor today. So looking at these things can help you boost your SEO ranking. So user experience, page speed, the quality of the content. Now that's a webinar in itself to look at how do you create quality content. Uh, but essentially, if you were to simply put, quality content is something that is valuable and useful to your audience, and it is of such a quality that no one else has done or created content to that level. So that should be your benchmark. And backlinks, we spoke about backlinks. So acquiring backlinks is a huge factor in your search ranking. And so start with these. There are lots more that you can get into, but if you're starting out, then you would want to focus on these five. Okay, so that brings us to the end of the webinar. I found this meme on Twitter last night, so I thought hopefully you have one. And Anup, shall we get into the Q&A now?
Yeah, certainly, Sandeep. Sorry, my internet was fluctuating a little bit.
Okay, no worries.
All right, quite a few questions here. If you go to the chat box, I've answered many of them,
Yeah,
but
no.
I think our audience is also a little bit mixed. We have people who are I mean, very new to um, you know, let's say tech side of
Yeah,
websites and all that.
sure.
We have a person asking here about WordPress backend, for example, right?
Mm.
So if your website is not in WordPress, then you have to obviously look at other ways of optimizing it, which I think can get tricky. If you're not using WordPress, Wix, Squarespace, one of these platforms where you can drag and drop and create websites really fast, it becomes very difficult to do this SEO bit. Otherwise you need to have a developer with you to help you out with all these tags and other stuff. If you're not familiar with HTML and stuff, that is why I will leave it to Sandeep to answer. Would you recommend? You know, I know you will recommend WordPress, but still, how do you do it if the website is not in WordPress?
Yeah. Uh, yeah, I mean, obviously, I would be biased to say WordPress, but there are situations where WordPress is not not necessarily the only option, right? So you're looking at building a website. So this is how I would distinguish, what tools one would use at what stage of the business. If you are looking to just create something as a resume or a profile, and let's say you're getting a lot of traffic from Facebook, and that's where your audience is, then SEO is not a priority, and you're not creating a lot of content. So you can just use a lot of the options that are available that Anup spoke about, which could be Wix, Squarespace, Weebly, ton of options today. WordPress also has options to do a little bit of this, sort of the DIY approach, if that is what you're looking for. And it really depends. Now, if you the one approach that I do not recommend is to build a site with just code, unless you are a developer, right? And you're comfortable doing all of this through a code without a dashboard, then that's fine. Otherwise, WordPress finds is a nice balance between being able to use easily and being able to do a lot of customizations and SEO work.
So Dimple has been asking quite a few questions, right? Says my website is not in WordPress, which is better, Google AdWords or Google Calls? Calls are part of AdWords Express, I think, if I'm not wrong. There's no better or worse. Depends on your business purely. If you interact with a lot of people on a daily basis, then calls is easier. It directly lands on your phone. If I understand what calls means correctly, there's an option in Google AdWords Express where you can send inquiries directly to phone call. Um, all right, something about website not being able to change. As I said, Sandeep already answered that question, I guess. Um, how SEO helps in getting leads. So if you have leads, then your website will rank high on Google. Automatically, more people will click, more people will come to your website. If they come to your website and you have a form there to capture leads or an inquiry form, naturally, if you have 100 people coming to the website, 2 people may fill the form. If you have 20,000 people coming to the website, suddenly 1,000, 2,000 people fill the form. Automatically, the more traffic that comes to the website, the more number of leads you get. That's what SEO does it for you.
So
Um,
that's another question that I see, Anup, on once we get keywords for generating leads, do we have then go for paid promotions, right? So this is an interesting conundrum of organic versus paid promotion, right? And I think the answer is not one or the other. You can always do both. And how I like to look at it is when you're starting out as a business and not many people are aware about you need to push your messaging out to people so that people find out about you, right? You need to increase the visibility. And so that's why I think paid marketing, PR, things of that nature help to get the word out about your business. And then once you established and have a set of customers and now you want to grow, SEO then comes in useful so that you can build that by pulling in people to your website through SEO. So that's how I would look at it. When you're starting off the business, push your message through. And once you are settled down and have a set of customers and you want to grow the business, then try and attract customers to you instead of you always trying to push your messages through. So that's how I would distinguish the two options. And paid ads also can help sort of boost your SEO efforts as well on an ongoing basis. So you can do campaigns, paid promotions, offers, discounts, etc. And but you can't do this all the time unless you have a big budget.
I have a interesting heuristic, you can say. If you have, let's say, less than 10 clients or 50 clients, don't bother going for paid promotions. So first 50 to 100 clients, depending on your business, of course. If you sell very, very high end stuff, then maybe 50 clients itself is a big number. If you sell something smaller or services which are quick, then 100 clients might be a small number. But let's say about 50 to 100 clients, if you want to get initially, try to get it through your networks, through your personal and professional networks, friends, peers, referrals. Don't spend money on promotions and other things. The reason is very simple. Till you get about 50 clients, you don't even know the characteristics of your customers. You may not like working with everybody you work with, right? If you work with 50 people and 10 of them are really bad to work with, you don't want to repeat that mistake. So you need to understand, you need to create kind of a profile of the customer you want to work with, understand their characteristics, maybe age group, maybe the role, maybe the company size, maybe location, maybe kind of service you offer, etc. So a lot of figuring out happens in this first 50 to 100 client period. That is important for you to create effective promotions of all kinds. Be it organic content, let's say your clients, like somebody had asked about high-end audio, right? Let's say your clients primarily come from villas, right? They own villas which are more than 5,000 square feet, for example. And they work in IT field, or, and owners of certain business types. So that information will not come to you with the first 2-3 clients you work with. It will come to you after you work with 50, 100 clients. And once that happens, then okay, these are the set of people I want to work with because they are much more profitable for me, easy to work with, etc. Then using that characteristics, you should form a strategy on how to go about doing SEO or paid promotion. For example, high-end clients who use high-end audio in their home theater, they have a personal home theater system, right? Those are the people probably you want to attract. So your SEO keyword should more be about high-end audio for your home theater, high-end audio for your villa, things like that, which will cater to that clientele that you want to get. And I assume the content there will be lesser than, if you go for very broad keywords. Similarly, paid promotion. People who are searching for, high-end audio for my home theater are more likely to become your clients than others. So again, keywords will narrow down when you do this exercise. Sandeep, let's look at the Q&A section. There are a couple of questions being asked there.
Okay.
Can you open it? And
here it's in a different screen. Okay, got it.
Go ahead. And you can answer it, type the answer, or just click answer live and, it will be done.
Okay. Still learning my way around Zoom.
Sure.
So, is there any way of knowing that the keyword updates I've made have improved my web ranking and not made it worse? Good question. So there are tools that help you track your keyword ranking. These are not free options, unfortunately. There is Ahrefs, Moz.com, SEMrush. They all are, I think the starting one is like $99 a month. So they're not cheap, but they do help you. Once you put your keywords in, it will continuously track and tell you. I didn't think yeah. So those tools are useful for tracking. Free options I am not aware of, but that'd be interesting to look at. So I'm going to make a note and see if we can find options. Anup, unless you know something.
Yeah, Uber suggest.
It's yeah. So they have a free trial, but it's not free anymore.
Correct. Keywords everywhere. Another one is Keywords Everywhere, which is a plugin in Google Chrome. That's also paid, but I think for $10 you can do about 10,000 searches or something like that. 10,000 results open up. So hardly anything,
Yeah, I think all of the tools, in fact, I know a lot of people who do this because they are so expensive. You take a 1 month subscription and then you generate enough data from it, export it onto Excel sheets, and then you can cancel the subscription after that. So
I have
that's
a,
also
I
something.
have, I also have a free method, by the way. You can do this by, don't track more than 10 keywords at a time. First, rule number one, right? Put it in an Excel sheet. If let's say you're sitting in Bangalore and you have friends in Delhi, Mumbai, Hyderabad, etc., right? Talk to 5 or 6 of your friends in different locations. Ask them all to search that keyword once in a month. Pick a day, 15th of the month, you're going to do this. Call up your friend, pester them to do these 10 searches and ask them, where is your website or web page ranking? Manually just do that entry once in a month. You will automatically get to know whether your SEO efforts are actually giving you results or not. And it will take about 3 months to start seeing any movement in ranking. But by monitoring this, you will know at least how the ranking is happening. It's a very simple method, and you get an indicator whether it's moving up or down, right? Second, third, point number three in that, there are two types of ranking you should monitor. One is the regular Google listing. Second is sometimes Google shows up a map that is called a local listing, LL, right? So monitor both local listing as well as the global listing that comes up. That's it. You don't have to have paid tools and all that to do. If you own and operate a small website, if you have a very large website, then it makes sense to go for these tools. Is that fine?
Also, I think search. Yeah, and I think Search Console is also another place that will tell you the queries that people have used to find your website and how many people have actually come to your website. So Search Console and Google Analytics again will give you some data in terms of which pages are attracting traffic, organic traffic, and Search Console, Google Search Console, which was previously called Google Webmasters, also gives you data on the search queries that are being used to then come and visit your website. So those are also data points that you can all, like Anup said, if you're starting out, just put in keywords in an Excel sheet and just you know uh, track that manually for on a monthly basis, and you will know. So we have one more question here.
I'm just answering that. It's a very
Okay,
specific question, so I'm just answering it here itself.
all right.
Fine. So a lot of good questions. Any more queries about how to rank on Google, how to do this more effectively, efficiently? Please ask. There's the opportunity you have. And this section of the webinar where we answer all these questions is edited out when we upload the video. So this will not be available in the YouTube video. Please feel free to ask as many questions as you want. All right. So that is done. I just want to remind all the audience members that there are quite a few things you can do to follow founders roundtable activities. If you can't attend the webinars, that is fine. Please go ahead and follow our YouTube channel, subscribe to the channel, and you will get updates whenever we upload a new video. I try and promote the webinars in many places, but sometimes it is not possible due to paucity of time. There is another way you can do this. Today, whoever has attended, you're going to get an email later in the day today asking you to join a Google group, email list. It's an email list, it's an email group, right? It's basically we can all interact with each other. You can ask your queries. We are all available there, and we are happy to help you sort these things out. There are no charges for all this, by the way. And this email list is the place where we will be promoting future activities. A lot of things happen, lessons happen, session happens, meetups happen. We'll also be bringing in some experts and doing interviews with them in the future. All that information will be available, made available through the email list. And please look out for that coming to your inbox today, sometime later in the day. The third thing you can do is go to founders roundtable.in. That is a website, right? I put in the link here. Oh, I don't know if you can see that link. Basically, this website right now, if you ask me, is has a basic information. There is a subscription, screen, but we are going to upload all the information about activities, future activities, lessons. Especially look out for sessions that are happening and expert lessons that are coming up. Some programs are being built. That is um, some courses are being built specifically based on the feedback we are getting from the audiences from these webinars. You're all welcome to register on the website and keep monitoring that for new lessons that are coming. So two things you can do: one, be part of the email list. You will get all the updates in your inbox as we make them: lesson sessions, interviews, celebrities, experts, all that. Two, follow the youtube channel. Subscribe to the YouTube channel, and you will get access to all the videos that we put out. And there are going to be a lot of videos coming up in the next 2-3 weeks. Thank you all for listening in. You were a very patient audience. And oh, sorry, I'm so sorry. Before we leave, we have last two questions to answer. Um, Sandeep, maybe I'll read out the question. Is there a
Yeah.
standard we can follow of how often one has to post blog posts with keywords to get up traffic leads?
Yeah.
Um,
I was just looking at that. So yeah, there's no standard. It varies from business to business. I can give you examples of people who have posted just once a month and generated, thousands of visits to that site. So I think you have to figure out what works for you. Uh, there is no sort of rule, hard and fast rule. However, what you should focus instead is the quality of the content. So when you do put out content, make sure that it is the best possible quality. You've done your research of all the things that we spoke about today, found the right keywords, found the right topics, answered it in depth, all possible related questions to that topic, and given links and images. And so I would say focus more on that versus the quantity. And second, once you understand what works for you, establish a schedule or a routine of, say, maybe one post a week, or you know uh, 1 in 2 weeks, or one in a month, whatever works for you. And then from there you go on to uh, you know identifying what are the things that you need to do next to grow the traffic and the website.
Right.
Hopefully that
There is
answers it.
another school of thought also on this. Just I'll quickly tell you that too. Right. Um, so if you actually choose very niche, nice keywords in nice areas, then anywhere between 60 to 50, 60 to 80 articles will rank you all the way up on Google automatically. So if you keep very broad keyword areas, the ranking becomes very difficult. If uh, if you narrow down the area that you're looking at, it becomes easier to rank. Very simple, right? About 50 to 100 articles is what you're looking at. And the article length also matters. Don't keep article lengths below, let's say, 2000 words. If you write 100 200 word articles, they are really not going to rank.
Yeah, we really didn't get into how you write content. Maybe that's for another webinar. But like Anup said, right, churning out 200 word blog posts with very generic keywords is not going to help you much. So if you um, you know well, looked at the webinar again, you'll see that we spoke about search intent, we spoke about long tail keywords, we spoke about overlapping the audience needs to the industry, the location, and then mapping that to your service or product. You do all these three, you end up with a very niche keyword. So, um, but they might not get you a lot of traffic, but they will get you very relevant and high quality traffic, which has a higher chance of converting into leads.
Okay, we'll close the session. Before we do that, just 2 seconds of all your time. Which topic would you like us to address in the next webinars, upcoming webinars? If there is a topic you would like us to address, any topic, please as long as related to business, please put it down in your chat box, and we will, ensure that we address the topic in the future sessions. I'll give you maybe 30 seconds. Please go ahead and put it in the chat box. Any topic related to business, we'll try to address. All right, fantastic. Some good this thing. Content creation for social media, scaling up of business, sales lead generation, growth strategies. Great. Growth strategies, etc., might be too broad. Digital marketing. The session which we did today is part of digital marketing. Innovation, again, a very broad topic. If generic this thing is required, I can take a session. Design ideas for your website to keep customers stay longer. Fantastic. In fact, a session is coming up on design, on Wednesday. Paid promotions, how to set demographics. Paid promotions on LinkedIn, Facebook, Google, which channel? If it is Facebook, by the way, Facebook, lead generation is coming up on Monday. I am taking a session on Facebook lead generation on Monday. You will get the note on that shortly. Srijit says landing page creations. I think, Sandeep, that is something you can take up, right?
Yeah, most definitely.
Instagram, how to increase Instagram followers and Insta stories. Fantastic. I have the right person who's got about 1 million plus followers on his Instagram accounts.
Awesome.
We'll bring them in. Okay. Any other topic? Okay, Rashmi is asked how to write, write blogs, blogging. Okay, fine. We will be taking one session on how to write blogs soon enough. Maybe we'll record some videos rather than taking a whole session. Content on website focus on SEO, how to connect to best PR agency with affordable budgets. I wish I knew that.
Maybe we can find a PR person to. Right. I know somebody who can probably give some insights in terms of how you get the attention. In fact, there is a site called Help a Reporter Out. I think haro.com, haro.com, helpareporterout.com. So it's basically like you giving tips from your industry to that reporter, who can then go about and and write an article. So maybe we should get a PR professional. I know a couple of them who can come and share some insights.
Thank you so much. Thank you for giving all these ideas for future sessions. We'll definitely be taking some of them as webinars, some of them as live interactive sessions, and some of them we will record videos and publish. Because it might take a lot longer to, let's say, how to write a blog article, right? Is a very lengthy session. So we don't want you to sit here for 2-3 hours. We'll record videos on it, edit the videos properly, and put it out. Thank you so much for the time, Sandeep, today. It was a fantastic session, a lot of interaction. And thank you to the lovely audience for all your patience and all the interaction today and all the questions you have asked. Please feel free to get in touch with either of us for any more, let's say, discussions that you want to have. Maybe Sandeep, you can pop in your email ID. My email ID is well known, I think, by now, but this is the best way to get in touch with.
I'm just sharing my email ID, but you can also find us on at pixelmatic.com. And yeah, so you'll know what we do. And we also have a blog, which is fairly active. If I were to make a plug, we have released a WordPress marketing guide with like 20 chapters on how to use WordPress for marketing. So
yeah, why don't you put in the link here?
Oh, let me share that then.
I have it open. I think I was going through it. It's so long.
Yeah, I know. It is. It took us about 6 months to put all the content together. So yeah, take a look and reach out to us if you need any help.
Yeah, fantastic. Closing the session now. Thank you so much. See you in the next webinars, upcoming webinars.
All right. Bye. Enjoy the weekend, everybody.
Bye.